documented creeps. A few years back, I embarked on a Norwegian cruise, tagging along with a bunch of buddies. Initially, it promised to be a delightful getaway, a breather from the everyday grind. Yet, as the days at sea wore on, a sinister undercurrent began to unravel. It all began with an unquenchable appetite for sushi that persisted for 2 straight days. The constant indulgence left me feeling woozy, my head spinning like a derailed roller coaster. My friends chided me, blaming my fishy binge for my ailment. They might have been right, but that wasn't the whole story. After a few drinks, I decided to separate from my pals, who were entrenched in one of the ship's bustling bars. My condition was deteriorating rapidly, and I yearned for the solace of my cabin. I wandered along the ship's lower decks, away from the revelry, guided only by my blurry instincts. A cleaning staff member, their accent heavy as a thick fog, directed me through the maze-like corridors. Their words were somewhat muddled, but I understood enough to continue straight ahead and then take a left at the signpost. That's what I did, and that's when things took a sinister turn. The corridor I found myself in was markedly different, its tiled floor stark against the plush carpeting elsewhere. It seemed more like a forbidden section, off limits to passengers. Still, curiosity got the best of me, and I ventured deeper into this eerie expanse. As I turned a corner and peered to my right, my heart froze. Illuminated by flickering lights and shrouded in shadow, a figure stood facing the wall. My pounding head seemed to throb even harder, and I had to rub my eyes to ensure my vision wasn't playing tricks on me. When my hands retreated, the figure had swiveled to face me, lurking in the dimly lit hallway. I couldn't discern much about their features due to the scarce lighting, but I knew they were looking at me. Panic surged through me, but I retraced my steps, eager to escape this ominous encounter. I retraced my path, but the cleaning staff member was nowhere to be seen. Head still pounding, I finally reached the lobby of that peculiar floor, and from there, it wasn't difficult to locate the elevators. I returned to my cabin, my mind awash with confusion. I collapsed into bed, convinced that my sushi binge had unleashed a torrent of food poisoning. Yet, my troubles were far from over. In the dead of night, I awoke, but my body was entirely unresponsive. Only my eyes could move, darting around the room in a desperate search for answers. In the corner of my peripheral vision, something materialized. My gaze snapped to it. There, on the opposite side of the room, a figure stood, just as the one from the hallway had, facing the wall. I longed to scream, to flee, but I was trapped, imprisoned in my own body. It was undeniably real, and I could feel the truth of its presence bearing down on me. Slowly, the figure began to drift closer, defying the laws of physics, its limbs immobile. It stopped above my bed, and as I strained my eyes, I could faintly discern a face. It was the same person from the hallway, the one I thought was a hallucination. But now, I wasn't so sure. Time lost all meaning as the figure hovered over me. Then, its mouth stretched impossibly wide, wider than any human could, and a deafening, visceral scream erupted. It merged with my own voice, breaking the shackles of my paralysis. With trembling hands, I fumbled for the light switch. My friend, in the adjacent bed, stirred, his sleep-ridden eyes meeting mine. "What's wrong?" he groaned, his voice heavy with drowsiness. I recounted the nightmarish ordeal I had just endured. His response was as predictable as it was unhelpful, blaming my sushi binge once more. Shaken to my core, my body quivering, I eventually drifted back into sleep. That night, I had no more dreams, yet the lingering question remained. Had the person in the hallway been real, or was it merely a product of my sleep paralysis-induced hallucination? It was a conundrum that haunted my thoughts, the memory of that night's horror etched into my soul. Thanks for joining us on this spine-tingling journey at Documented Creeps. If you crave more eerie tales, real-life encounters, and mysteries that defy explanation, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe.